It's a brand new screen team right here on today's talk, KWOC, and we're being joined by the ever famous Kyle Roberts. Kyle, how are you doing this afternoon, man?
Feeling better now that you butter up my ego a little bit.
That's what I'm here for, man. That's what I'm here for. We've got a great selection of movies today, and some of these are your personal favorite. We'll be joined by Matt Whitworth a little bit later on in the show, talking about Wayne's World. Also, we're going to be doing Space Jam with Michael Jordan
and Bugs Bunny.
and Bugs Bunny. Yes, but we're going to start off the show with a movie that I like, and obviously this movie is one of your favorites as well. It's called Major League. And
Man, Major League is just so awesome.
why is this one of your favorites?
Man, it was one of the first baseball movies that I ever recalled seeing as a kid. I was born around the time a little bit before that came out. Also, with the movies like Field of Dreams and also Eight Men Out, which is another amazing film. But this was the first one I really enjoyed, just because I'm more of a fan of comedies as opposed to a more serious narrative like those. And the cast of characters they had, a lot just went on to become really, really famous, and a lot of great one-liners. It's baseball. It's baseball.
There's so many good characters. I mean, you've got people like Ricky Vaughn, the Wild Thing.
Wild Thing, yeah, played by Charlie Sheen before he became Charlie Sheen. He hadn't had any major roles, and that movie really helped put him on the map. You also had the speedster who couldn't hit worth a crap. Yeah, Willie Mays Hayes, played by Wesley Snipes, and also Tom Berenger's in it, playing catcher Jake Taylor. Corbin Burnson, famous from his L.A. Law days, playing the third baseman Roger Dorn, who talked a big game, couldn't field the ball to save his life. A lot of great characters in this movie.
Do you have a favorite character?
It's actually not a character. It's more of a figure. It's Joe Boo.
Joe Boo is your the guy that
the Allstate guy. Yeah,
the Allstate guy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man.
His voodoo doll. It's so cool. It's so instrumental to his character, and also the veteran pitcher Eddie Harris, who seemed to have a bit of an issue with Serrano's choice of religion, so to speak.
Now, this movie centers around the Cleveland Indians and their franchise. The Indians, everybody talks about the Cubs and the Red Sox, before they started winning. And, the Cleveland, not just with the Indians, but the city of Cleveland itself and all their franchises have experienced losing year after year after year after year. And, this movie definitely highlights that, doesn't it?
And in heartbreaking fashion, the phrase "taking the victory from the jaws of defeat." That's the city of Cleveland in a nutshell. And the Indians, the real baseball team, haven't won a world championship since 1949. To put that in perspective, so this was 39 years after their last championship, and they still haven't won one to this day. But they really wanted to hammer that point home. The director, David Ward, is a Cleveland native, so this entire movie was his brainchild, coming from natural heartbreak. But but it all centers around the fact that the owner of the team dies, and his wife, or now widow, inherits the team. She's a Las Vegas showgirl who has no intent on keeping the team in the city of Cleveland. She just wants a new stadium. So she puts together the lousiest team baseball can't buy and tries her hardest to ensure that they finish last so she can take the team.
So she's kind of like a precursor to Stanley Kroenke, right?
Yeah, can we not bring him up? That'd be great if you didn't talk about him at all.
You talk about those about the Indians, man. I was a huge Indians fan in the mid 90s when they had all those like Manny Ramirez and Albert Bell and Jim Thome. And I really thought they were going to win the World Series that one year, and the Marlins with Edgar Renteria broke my heart, man.
Yeah, but then you wound up liking Renteria because he became a Cardinal. But I digress.
That's true.
Yeah, those Indians teams in the 90s they were monsters. Great offensive teams. They had good pitching. They just had the misfortune in '95 of running into that awesome Atlanta Braves team with the pitching that they had, and they should have beat that Marlins team. Let's just be completely honest. You're comparing the teams, you're like, oh, come on. But somehow, because Cleveland, it doesn't happen, and it's ridiculous, don't you think?
Oh, I do. Do you have any favorite scenes in Major League, Kyle?
Ooh, man, this is like asking about Wayne's World, which we'll get to later on in the show. Daggum, man. Well, first off, the first one that really comes to mind is whenever they carry Willie Mays Hayes out of the locker room for spring training because he wasn't invited, and he wakes up, while they're all trying, they're having their sprint tryouts to see who's going to make the team, and he outruns everybody barefoot in his pajamas. And then all they do is look at the clock and said, "Get that guy a uniform."
I love that guy's
I
voice.
love Lou Brown's voice, by the way. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. One of my favorite scenes in the film is obviously everything that Bob Uecker does in the in the film. But there's a scene where I guess Ricky Vaughn pitches for the first time and he just throws it wild, and he's like, "Just a bit outside."
That's a little bit of an iconic line from not just sports movies, but just from movies in general. And then not only he misses that one, he throws 12 straight balls and walks the bases loaded. You brought up Wild Thing Vaughn, very pivotal character to the movie. Obviously, they brought him in from jail. He stole a car. That's how he wound up in the California Penal League. But over time, he winds up developing some control thanks to some really awesome glasses with a skull in the middle. And he winds up becoming the guy who really helps the Indians achieve their goal of not only winning, but sticking it to the owner when they find out that what her true intentions were.
Right. And this movie is rated R, and I think it's mainly due to language. A lot of cussing in this film, but if you're a fan of baseball, I think this is definitely a film that people should watch. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think you necessarily have to be a fan of baseball so much, because there is a bit of a romantic narrative that you'll find out throughout the movie with Jake Taylor and his former flame Rene Russo plays in the movie as well. So there's a little bit of something for everybody, but it's primarily baseball, and it's an awesome movie. It's really funny. Once for you young kids out there who like baseball, wait till you're 17 to watch the movie. On one side note, I don't know if you knew this, but I read this a few years ago. All of the on-field dialogue was not scripted.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Like the interactions with some of the Yankee players, like the first baseman, how he goes up to the plate and asks Jake, he said, "How's your wife and my kids?" That was all ad-libbed because the director insisted that it be that way, so it gives the authentic feel. It gives you an idea of what these guys are actually saying to each other that the cameras don't pick up when you're watching it on television or if you're there at the ballpark. We wanted to try to create a real authentic on-field atmosphere, so he just told them, fly with it.
The movie is called Major League. It stars Charlie Sheen and Wesley Snipes. Coming up after the break, we're switching gears. We're going from baseball to basketball. We got Space Jam next on KWOC.